Welcome back, everybody, to part two. She Said, We Said podcast. I am Candace. My other co host, Kat, is not here. She is out again, living her best life. Go Niners. She's actually at the game, I think, living the sweet life, possibly. So she's doing her thing. And I was just like, listen, how many opportunities are you going to get for the 49ers to be in their glory? I think they've been doing well the
Excuse
past.
me, hold on, wait a minute.
I think they've been doing well. You're a 49er
Podcast about to go left. You mean how many opportunities?
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, all the teams how they look. I'm Green Bay, so I know we struggling right now, and I would still need to put that out there. But let her live in her little moment. Let everybody get their chance at the top. The 49ers ain't gonna be up there forever, so let her live. While me and him finish this conversation. So if you didn't get a chance to tune in to part one, I highly recommend you go back and take a minute to watch it. We have the wonderful Joe McCoy here. Again, tell him real quick what you do.
Oh, violence prevention specialist for the city of Richmond. I work for the Office of Neighborhood Safety.
So we have him, and we talked a lot about in the beginning of the last episode about kind of like what he does and how his upbringing, so to speak, plays into how he can relate to these at-risk youth that he deal with now. But there was a couple things that he mentioned back in the first episode that I want to tap into, and we already discussed it to make sure he's okay with that. So going back to you being a teenager, before you even got into the lifestyle that you live, there was a couple things that you touched on about you went to jail for a murder you didn't commit. I don't know how that happens, right? So we'll delve into that. You talk about your upbringing between your mother and your father and how your relationship with your father wasn't so good, but then you, of course, end up having 3 kids of your own. So we kind of tapped in about that a little bit. So we're just going to unpack some of those things that we kind of talked about that we really didn't go into detail. So beginning, there's a lot of relationships now, a lot of relationship issues, right? I'm going to just tell y'all too, Joe, if you ever tune into his page, he's always going live, just being transparent, speaking truth. He's always posting thought-provoking questions, asking questions, giving people a chance to not only just think about certain things that we may be dealing with in our lives or whatever, but, giving you something to just kind of reflect on. And the relationships that men have with their mothers, in my opinion, are very, very important. I feel like it definitely sets the role and kind of sets the standard of how y'all relate to women, right? They say a woman is a man's first love, right?
Right.
And I remember...
And our first heartbreak, in most cases.
Your first love and your first heartbreak. I can see that. And I remember the first time I was... that sounds so bad. The first time I was getting married, right? First time I got married, before I got married, I met this random stranger. Long story short, I didn't meet him, but he overheard a conversation these other guys was having with me. And so he overheard that I was engaged and I was getting married. And the first thing he asked me, he was like, what type of relationship does that man have with his mother? And he said, a man will never treat you better than he treat his mother. So he said, I don't care, how y'all relationship is. He said, you always find out the type of relationship he has with his mother, how he loves her, how he treats her, because he will never treat you better than her. And over the years, as I had dated different guys, I realized that a lot of the toxic relationships that I probably had engaged in, they had horrible relationships with their mother. Like, thought women was, had bad ideas and views of women, didn't have good relationships with their mother, whether they felt abandoned by their mother, whether they felt like their mother didn't love them, whether they felt like their mama was a hoe. Just, they definitely had issues with their mother. So in my experience, that was true. In your experience, you talked about you had a loving mother.
I did.
However, you were the product of a side chick. Your mom was a side chick. She was messing with a married man. So if we go back to having a woman who is dating a married man, knowing he married, but you sleeping with him anyway, what type of mindset and mentality is she? You know what I mean? Is she young? Is she immature? Is she one of them chicks that's just out there wild? She don't care? Like, how much of that played a role in your relationship? Starting, like, when you found out that you were a product, like, how did that come? If you can remember, how did that even come about? How did you know?
I realized I wasn't in his last name.
You wasn't well.
I'm not my father's last name.
Okay.
My father's last name is Williams. My
Okay.
last name is McCoy.
Okay.
Um, and that's when, and I found that out in school because at first I thought my last name was Williams until I got to school.
So when you was
And
when your
help,
mom
and
was teaching you your name, didn't she teach your name was Joe McCoy?
she just taught me my name was Joe.
Really?
Joseph. Well, it's really not even that. My whole family called me by my middle name, Patrick.
Patrick?
Yeah,
You a Patrick?
yeah, my middle name.
I didn't know
My
that.
whole family called me
Patrick.
by my middle name, but then they never said last names, and I just thought that my last name was Williams because my dad's last name was Williams.
That's weird. Cause I've
Hey
always
man,
been taught my first and last name. Now I teach my. You always get taught your first and last name. So that's different.
at least I don't remember that. I might have the story wrong. I don't remember.
Okay.
Hopefully, one of my brothers and sisters will chime in to the chat one day and be like, he
Nigga,
lied.
you know. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know, but so so that was my first time, realizing who that I was. And I went home with questions. And they was like, we know your dad was dating somebody else, and she gave me her best scenario or best
Your mom did.
her best explanation without putting herself in the bad category, which was cool. But you're right, it does affect. Like I said, I didn't see. I told you in the other episode, I'd never seen a faithful woman. I'd never seen a faithful man. So I thought everybody cheated. I thought that's just the game people's play. So I followed the game at first.
So what was your first relationship? Have you ever been? What was your first time being in love? How was that? How do you fall in love with a woman if you think all women cheat? How do you?
Uh, it's toxic. I think my first relationship was a toxic relationship. We weren't meant to be together. Still good friends now. Um, but it's just a toxic relationship because I didn't know how to be in a healthy relationship. And I don't think I didn't know because of my mother. I think I didn't know because of my father.
Mm.
Because you mirror the man in your life, right? So my mentor
Was
and
an ex pimp, right?
right, and my father, fornicated all around the city or wherever else he did it at. So that's my first turnout to dating.
Was a pimp and a father who.
Yeah.
So how much a detail did you know about pimps and what they did? One of the things you said about your mentor is that he just told y'all how to
See,
talk up to women and finesse them. Did he ever go into the game of the pimp game with y'all and just like tell y'all how
he
it
told
worked?
us how it worked for him. Told us why he stopped doing it.
Why did he stop doing it?
He just said, he aged out of it. He got married.
He
You know what I
aged
mean?
out.
But women loved him because he was a smooth, dark-skinned, well-dressed, great conversationalist. Just man, women
Is that
loved
why
this
you
cat.
always be in suits?
Who?
Do
I
you get that
love
from?
suits.
I know
love
you
suits.
look good. You look good in a
I
suit. What I'm
love wearing
saying,
a
Will,
suit.
that's
That's
just
my
part of your
element.
pimping
Man, nah, I ain't
chronicles.
got.
Not
See,
that you was a pimp, but let's clear that up. But I'm just saying, pimping
nah.
mentorism, looking nice.
I think at a certain age you should dress your age,
Okay.
and I think that's one of the problems now because a lot of older people are trying to fit in the young folks' world instead of people fitting in our world.
Okay.
So, because it's funny, I was talking to some young people. I'm gonna go back to where you was at.
Okay.
Work with
That's
me.
fine.
So I was talking about, man, who do y'all look up to? And they said we don't look up to nobody. I'm like, well, why? He said because look, man, them niggas in competition with us.
Mm.
What you mean? He said, man, they dress like us and try to date the same women we date. So how can I look up to them?
Mm.
I thought about that. Like, wow.
Okay.
Okay, got you. And you got to give
Point
them
made.
point made. Because you look at the older dudes. Most older dudes say, man, I can't say nothing to these youngsters. But those were our pups. We created these cats. The first thing, that's even about their own kids. And I don't say nothing to little dude. Little dude deal with his mama. We just got a funny dynamic between males now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so, and I'm going to say the reason I think it's because of my father, because the relationship that me and my father had and him raising me, I said I was going to go out my way not to raise my sons that way, right? But I never looked as deep as to say, hey, he got a fucked up relationship with women. I need to go out my way to be a better boyfriend, fiance, and husband. I never thought of that, right? Until I got older and, hey, been married a couple times.
What's a couple?
Two. 3, 4, 6. No, 2. I've been married twice.
So did you know anything with your father? You mentioned in the last episode that he only came around like on the weekends, and sometimes he would take you out with other women. So was it sometimes when he came around on the weekends that he stayed with your mother? By the time he was coming
He
on weekends, were
stayed.
they
He stayed.
still?
No, he
He would stay the
stayed.
whole
He
weekend.
stayed the whole weekend locked in there.
So he would come over on Friday. He
Yeah,
locked
it'd
in
be
till
like Sunday,
Sunday.
you know.
So that means whoever else he was with was missing her man
Yeah.
at least for the weekend. But she had him probably during the week or a couple days out the week. So everybody
And
had
the
their
thing
turn.
about him, and I can't say all bad about him. If my mom would ask him for stuff, he would make sure it happened. To a certain extent, because I don't know how far she would go with asking me.
And he acknowledged you.
Yeah, he acknowledged me, but let me tell you the funny thing. From my understanding, he didn't at first. Said I wasn't his. That's why I'm in a different name. Then he doubled back out a sister by my mother, and she's in Williams.
So it's two of y'all by your father.
Right.
Did
See,
your
so
sister...
like I said, it's a lot of family dynamics.
Well, so
I'm like an onion. Every time you pull back a layer,
no. You a lot to him back. You are definitely a case study.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna say this because one of the things that you did mention is that your mom she did kind of date around. So now, and I'm bringing that up because as we get older, right, you hear things about people and you see a lot of people be like, oh man, I heard she was with this dude. So do you think that was his?
My mom
thing
started
with
young.
him too?
She came from the South. My mother couldn't read. Only thing she could read was the Bible.
Wow.
I'm talking about she could not read anything other than, and don't ask me how, because the Bible is probably the hardest book to interpret, but she knew it.
So she could read the Bible.
My mother couldn't read at first. She came from the South as a kid. She already started having babies, so she couldn't read.
How did she get here? Do you know much of her story? Do you know how she got here?
That's another podcast.
That is
she
another
got here
podcast.
before after 13. She came with I think 5 of my siblings. The last four were born here. Me and my sister.
And the youngest too.
Yeah.
Okay, so when she came here, she already had 5 of y'all.
My older 2 brothers and sisters. My other 2 brothers and sister, and me and we came after she got here.
Did she ever tell you how she met your father?
I never asked.
You never asked?
I never asked that.
So you never know how they never knew how they met.
No.
But she knew he was in a relationship or married.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you look like your father?
Dead on it.
Really?
Right. We got between him, my uncle, man, may he rest in peace. I went to a funeral, man. I sat by my uncle, man, at a funeral. I was like, dang.
So the genes was strong.
Very strong.
Do you have any idea of what's the age difference between you and your sister?
2 years.
Do you know about how her relationship? Have you guys ever talked about what her relationship with him was like?
I think they had a better, stronger relationship, man. But my sister got on drugs.
Early?
Yeah.
Early in life?
Yeah.
Really? Is she still on drugs?
Yeah. And I don't care what I've tried to do, help her to get off. She's just, that's my youngest sister, so I felt responsible for that. So see, again, I'm supposed to be the protector.
So how did you feel being a young man selling drugs, seeing what it was doing to your own family members? Why was that not? Because that's a question sometimes that comes up. It
always
people, right?
comes up.
You already see the damage that it does. You already see this. You already see that, and then yet you still continue.
It came up a million times, but back then we didn't think like that. Now as you get older and you start to understand who you are in life and what life is about and what community really means, we knew we did stupid stuff. We knew we wasn't cool. But then you really just thinking you trying to survive.
So did you know the people who were serving your sister?
She's on a different type. She was on something else. I don't know who sold that stuff.
Okay.
Because I didn't know who was the meth dealers in my neighborhood, the ice dealers. Because everybody in our community probably had some type of hustle. I don't care if it was the candy lady or something. Everybody in North hustled somehow.
Mm-hmm. So how did your mom feel? How was your mom with you and your father's relationship? Did she try to cultivate it? Did she encourage it? Did she ever talk to you about it? Or was it just a cut and dry, it's Friday, your daddy coming, y'all gonna kick it and do whatever? Like, what was that dynamic like? Because now you got other siblings in here. That's not their father. That's only your father, your sister. So what was that like on the weekends when your father came over and like, did they have their fathers? Did they go see their fathers? Like, did you know anything about that as you got a little bit older?
The older ones, their father either had passed or was still in Marshall. And I didn't know that now. the middle two before me and my sister. Their father was still around. He passed when I was I think I was like 17 or 18 when he died.
Okay.
So they had their father.
Okay. So
And it's
they had
funny, they were probably the most spoiled too.
Oh,
I
okay.
was fucked up in the head. That's why they ended up. They was on substances too.
Did that have an effect on you growing up in a household where, like, I have an older sister and then I have older brother and a younger sister, right? So my older brother and younger sister, we have the same father, but like me and my sister, we have the same mother but different fathers, right? So there's always that different dynamic where my sister's father um, became a street person. Like he was solid for a while, and then he became a street person. You know what I mean? Kind of out there and crazy, all that other stuff. But my father, you know what I mean? So I never had a chance to talk to her to know, if she felt any kind of way about me having my father. You know what I mean? When she didn't have hers. So I'm asking you that.
I think he played a part in the family dynamics because I think that the one ahead of us was a cruel dude. I think he was abusive to my mom
one
and abusive
ahead.
to the other kids.
Which one?
The one before me, for my father.
Oh, the guy
I
before
think
your
he was
father.
abusive to my mom and to the other kids.
So, but he somebody she dated, or was he
No,
yours
she dated him for a while. He lived in the household with her prior to my dad, I think.
prior to your dad? But he wasn't. She didn't have no kids with him.
No, he had two. That's
Oh,
what I'm
your
saying.
sisters. Oh, your
So
sister.
I have a sister and a brother that's by him.
And he was abusive.
He was abusive, but I think he spoiled those two.
Oh,
I think he didn't pay any attention to the others.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
That's what I think. I'm not sure of that.
All right. Okay.
But that's what I think.
And he was a bit abusive. Did you ever see him be abusive to her?
I'll see by the time I got there, she was with my dad.
Oh, okay. Okay. So then he never came back around.
Yeah.
Did she ever talk to you about that?
Nah, my brothers and sisters did though.
Oh, they did tell you.
And my
that.
older brothers and sisters talked to me about it. It was a lot.
What did they say?
He was just abusive dude. They said one time he hit my mom with a bat.
Mm.
And I was like, damn, y'all wasn't old enough to do nothing. And I was thinking, and I don't know why, because I'm thinking about, like, damn, y'all had to be 16, 15.
What you niggas was your
Well, yeah, because that wouldn't have flew.
Scared though, 15 and 16.
That wouldn't have flew.
You got a man coming in angry, grown man with a bat. That's kind of scary, right? No.
Man, all my brothers was athletic.
Mm.
I'm still trying to figure out how that flew, but I don't know.
So okay, so then we fast forward. You're here. Your dad. When did your dad stop coming around on the weekends? You said you had a good relationship.
12,
up until
13,
he was
about 12.
about
Whenever I
14.
got the hams, whatever age that is, 12.
When he started dating the other woman. So that other woman pretty much kind of called off your relationship for the most part.
Nah, I patched it together a couple different times, man, because even especially when I had my first son, I refused to allow my sons to see me mad at my dad, and they felt that it was okay to be mad at me.
Okay.
So I patched it up quite a few times. And even when I went to jail, he came to every court date, didn't miss a court date. Man.
Your dad did?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Now was this after the after you cried for 3 days and was
I was
mad?
after. Cause you got to think about it. I went to jail for the murder that I did not commit. I was in my early 30s.
How does that? Can you, without going into details,
I can go into details.
How does that happen? How do you go to jail for a crime you didn't commit?
Same car, same area.
But
So
what was the evidence?
so we had a gun.
Was the gun had that body on it?
So nope, that's the only thing that saved us. You know how you watch CSI and they run the gun that day and
Right.
they say this didn't happen. Man, ballistics is probably back at that time. Ballistics was backed up in Contra Costa County like a year.
Ooh. How long did you stay in for?
We sat in there. My partner ended up going to jail for the gun, so he went to the pen for the gun. But I think I sat 6 months fighting,
6 months.
just fighting the case.
Wow.
See, I
Was it
didn't
you?
know.
Is that so? We ain't gonna go in. I wonder if is that one of those things where the one time this ain't you.
Yeah.
You know what? I'm gonna say it
I'ma
without
say
saying
this.
it.
No.
I'm gonna say it without saying it. But you know what I'm
honest
saying.
to God, right? When I sat in there, and I was trying not to stress about it, I told myself in jail, I said, you gotta pay for your past sometime.
Okay.
So if this is your way of paying for your past, And I
That didn't
accepted it
stop you
for a
from
minute.
fighting
Yeah,
that
and
case,
I
though.
accept. Hell no, I'm gonna fight to the death. I'm going for it.
That didn't stop you from fighting
I'm
that
going
case.
for it. I'm going for it.
Shit, I know
But
I.
nah, so I give you a brief. So me and my partner, we was riding to go mail something off at the UPS store. He jumped in the car with me because he said he wanted to go to Popeyes. A
Go to
Richmond
Popeyes?
Popeyes chicken. A Richmond police pulled us over in San Pablo and said this car fit the description of a shooting, and we were sitting there like, nah, we going right here, right? So, but he was like, Joe, I'm strapped. I'm like, don't worry about it. I got everything, right? So they said, get out the car, let us search you. So I'm finna get out the car. He was like, no, let me first search him first. By now, backup done pulled up. My partner throw his hands up like he finna get searched. He break. We
Oh,
bought
it
a
took a
casino. He
moment.
run, and let me tell you this quick. Listen to the whole story. So
Okay.
he bought it. We bought a casino. He run that way, cross towards the casino. He fall. He slip in some water. He get caught with the gun. Now be mindful. He fell in some water. Now I'm sitting there. They got me out the car. First car, some Latino people pull up. I see them all shaking their head. No. Next car, Latino people pull up. They shaking their head. Yeah, I'm like, damn. They say we have a positive. Positive for what? So at this time we think it's a shooting. Then as they got me, cause I don't even know they got him. So as they got me and they taking me off, they said it just turned into a murder. He died. I'm like, who? Shit. I'm like, who? So I get to the damn cell, then I hear my partner down, and they put him in another cell down. We in the Richmond station. The funny thing is, where my office is now used to be the jail.
Mm.
So they put him. I hear him going off. Man, F y'all, man. I ain't did shit. I'm like, wait, what we in here for? They said, but we killed such and such. I'm like, our partner? We went to jail for a North cat.
Mm.
And we didn't do. But he got shot with a 40. We had a 40 caliber gun. We had a 40 caliber gun.
Mm.
Neither one of us gun hadn't been fired, but that just was too much like right. Then at that time the song was white t-shirt, blue jeans, and Nikes.
So everybody had.
Everybody, I was like that's what it was the summer, so it's hot. I got on white t-shirt, blue jeans. He got on white t-shirt, blue jeans.
Mm.
The shooter ran back to the car, fell in a puddle. So all the witnesses said his pants legs should be wet. When my partner got tackled,
Oh wow, that was too.
it was just too many coincidences.
Too many coincidences.
Too many coincidences. The only thing that did save us is I had a few dollars and I got the gun ran separately.
Mm.
So if we'd have been regular, now we probably wouldn't have went to jail, but something would have happened. We'd have just been fighting for a long ass time because the gun wouldn't have, we'd had to wait for the damn ballistics on the gun. But that's the only thing that saved us.
Wow, that's crazy. So, did you take a moment like while you was in there fighting this case, right? You got all this stuff going on. Did you not?
Man, I believe in karma, right? And I also believe in the Bible. One of my favorite stories in the Bible is the story of Lot, right? And if you know your Bible, the story of Lot is when God told Lot and his family to leave. I'm paraphrasing. I might mess it up for all you Bible thumpers. When they told him, don't look back.
Right.
And his wife looked back and turned to either the pillar of stone or the sand, whichever version you read. And I think God told me not to look back.
Mm.
And I looked back, so he had to pop me a little bit, let me know you're supposed to be this way, not that way.
Wow. 6 months of jail. How does that feel? I've never been in jail. I don't know what it's like to be, fighting a court case and, thinking like, man, I could spend the rest of my life in here. Was that your first time going to jail?
Nah.
Oh.
My first time going to jail, nah. First time going to jail for something that severe.
So what was it? What was it like even the first time going to jail? That's not a deterrent. Like that's not a deviant to be like, nigga, I ain't trying to go back to this place no more. That's not a to get your life
funny.
straightened
See,
out.
a lot of people are groomed for jail. They start going to jail in juvenile, right? So by the time they get to the pen, they used to being in a cell. I had my first case at 21, so I never went to juvenile hall. I missed all that shit.
Mm.
So my first only thing when I first got there, it was a dope case. I knew I wasn't gonna get ever. So, I just fought it like a normal dude. Then one of my partners said, don't worry about it. You gonna get this lawyer. He gonna get that shit up off you. I got caught my first dope case, I got caught with a half a brick, half a key of coke. I ended up getting 120 days in jail.
Mm. You had a good lawyer. Familiar with the system.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So does that act as like, does that change your mindset as to make you think like you invincible or you untouchable? Does things like that, because you really didn't get no punishment for it, does that just kind of help you, hurt you more than it helps you, because now you just like, oh nigga, I'm
See,
gonna just get him again if something
nah, see the
happens.
thing about it, I tell the young people, right? Like you had said something earlier, who you are when you by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
When you sitting on that bunk, right, and you think you finna get out, you thinking of every way not to come back. You thinking of more criminal activity or good stuff. The issue is when most of us come home, the things that we want to put in place aren't there, and we don't have the right family structure and right community to be able to say, "This is what I want to do," and it ain't coming fast enough because we need it to happen as soon as we get out. So you end up falling back into your old traps, and that's what happened.
Mm. Now,
Mm.
where was your dad and your mom during all this?
See, my mom was a woman of shame,
Mm.
so she wasn't. She was like, "Oh, you ain't gonna be that, right?" But I was that.
So when you got out, was she like, Joseph, you need to, or Patrick? What she call you,
Yeah,
Patrick?
Patrick. I got.
I gotta get used to Patrick. Can I call you Patrick?
You call me Patrick.
Call you Patrick.
So she was, she wasn't happy, right? And some other brothers and sisters, other brothers had been in jail, so she just wasn't happy, and I got kind of pushed in that category for a minute
Okay.
because she found out I was hustling. I think in junior, no. Found out I was hustling in high school.
Okay.
So I was getting a phone put in my room, and dude had to move the dresser, and some money fell up under the thing, and she knew one of my relatives was hustling. So I tried to lie and say I was holding the money for him. And she made me call him to tell him to come over there. When she asked how much money it was, he underestimated what he thought I was worth.
At the
So
time.
yeah, so he said one number and it was like 10,000 short. And she was like, "Well, I'll keep the rest of this, right?"
Um,
Nope, Mom, I'm out of here. Don't worry about it. I sell dope. I'm gone. I'm gonna move.
mm. So you've been on your own since you was what?
Heck nah, I slid back to my mama's house heck of times, man. I ain't
So
gonna
when did
fail
you
to you.
officially move out? You said
I
your
moved
first.
out. I moved out at 17, but I came back. I always had a room in my mother's house.
Right, but you got your first place?
I had my first place at 18
With who? By yourself or was it with?
by myself.
How was that?
It was cool. I
You
didn't
had
know how to
women?
do it.
You
Huh?
had women coming through there all the time? You had your own place? Was you being responsible, paying your rent, knowing how
Oh,
to
yeah,
do the life
all the
stuff?
bills were paid.
You was paying them?
Yeah.
Okay. You was paying the bills. You had your own place.
Yeah, but it was a studio, and it wasn't that much money, and it was cool. But
Were
again,
you dating at this time?
I probably, hey, you gotta remember at this
Well, how
time,
old was you when you had your first son?
21.
Okay, so 18 between 21. So you met her sometime within those 3 years. Now, were you in a relationship with your first son's mom, or was that kind of like a fluke?
I was. No, I was in a relationship with her.
Okay.
I wasn't in a healthy relationship with her because I was still doing my thing in the streets with other women. So.
Did she know about the other women? She knew your
She did.
lifestyle,
She
right?
found out. She did.
Did she know about your lifestyle though? Did she know that
She
you
knew
was a
about my
hustler?
lifestyle.
So she
I didn't
accepted
hide
you?
that from her. Yeah.
Okay, so she accepted that,
Mm-hmm.
but she didn't know about other women.
No.
Because I feel like that comes with, for a lot of us, meeting a dude that sells dope, the women and stuff kind of come with the territory.
It do. Well, we expect that now, but you gotta think drug dealing was new then for some, right? So we young, so they don't. I don't think they had the mind state to think. Well, he got whoop 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 and whoop.
How long were you guys together for?
I think we stayed in the same household 3 years.
3 years. And then when did your next son come along?
When JJ was 6, because they're 6 years apart.
Okay. So 6 years difference between, were you in a relationship with his woman? Well, with his mother?
No.
What was she?
Huh?
Well, you don't have to answer.
She may watch this, so I'm gonna leave it alone.
That's fine. You don't have to answer.
Yeah, okay, well.
Can we do multiple choice?
Yeah, nah. So, and my last 2 sons are 6 months apart.
Hood, almost, like I think we talked about almost hood twins.
Yeah.
So were you with your last son's mother?
No.
Can we say what she was?
No.
Okay. So your first son, you was with his mom. trying to be in a committed relationship, even though it was toxic. Y'all was
And
young, trying
listen,
to
I
figure it out.
doubled back and tried to be with my second kid's mom too. It just didn't work.
You did.
It didn't work.
Okay. Why did you try to double back? Did you feel like you didn't give it enough of a chance the first time, or did you have more feelings for her than you thought you did? Because now at this time, you about what age? Because you.
I'm 25, 26.
So let's go back to
26, 27, somewhere up in there.
let's go back
But no,
to
I
the
was just
mind
trying
of a
to
25 year
just trying
old.
to slow down. So
You was trying to slow down. So up until that point, mind of a 25-year-old Joe, you had already been to jail at least once or twice, right? By this time, you were selling dope. You already had a son. Here you go with a 6-month-old, or you have a baby and you have another one 6 months later. So that means you was messing with both of them at the same time, regardless. So 25-year-old Joe.
no, that ain't necessary.
How they was pregnant at the same time?
But that don't mean that. See, you got to look at the
Okay.
man's essential makeup. Men don't have. We don't. When we break up with somebody, we ain't gonna say we ain't having sex for 2-3 years.
No, I didn't say. I didn't
So,
say that.
so
I'm
if I
saying
broke
they 6
up,
months
so if
apart.
I broke up with somebody in January, how long do you think the average man gonna wait before he has sex again?
You tell
Especially
me.
back then.
You tell me.
Evidently, it was 3 months.
So she got popped on the first night that y'all got
bam.
in.
No, I don't think
So
so.
you
'Cause
wasn't
I covered up back then, so I don't know how it happened.
Oh, you nigga.
I
See, now you
covered
got me
up back
calling you
then,
nigga.
man.
So I want to stand corrected. Then I don't want to put nothing out there on you that ain't supposed to be on you. So 6 months apart, but you somehow was not messing with both of them at the same time.
Right.
I have to do the math on that one.
All right.
I got to do the math because so that means the middle son, you stopped sleeping with his mama while she was pregnant. After, because obviously
I didn't know she was pregnant.
So the first mom got, and you didn't know she was pregnant.
I didn't know she was pregnant. I moved on.
When did you find out she was pregnant?
Like 7-8 months into a pregnancy.
Right before the baby due, you found out.
I found out.
And this one was already pregnant.
She pregnant by then.
How did you feel in that moment when you found out this one pregnant and you find out you got a baby that's about to be here any minute? As a man, how was you feeling? Do you remember?
But I wasn't thinking as a man. I thought as a child.
So what was you thinking?
I thought as a hood dude.
What was you just
I ain't
like,
tripping.
okay.
I got enough money for this.
Oh, just that simple. So you was already on board to take care of them.
Yeah.
Wasn't tripping. Didn't question whether they was yours or not. Like if you said your father questioned you, which is why you didn't have his last name, whatever that dynamic was. But for you, you didn't question them. Automatically, they yours. You got enough money to take care of them, and you just moving on.
Right. Right.
And then things don't work out with the youngest ones, or you never even tried to have anything with the youngest one.
She moved out of state.
And then you tried to double back to the middle. Mm-hmm. Why not double back to the first? That was just a done situation. Was it one of those situations where you did too much?
I think she deserved better.
You think she deserved better?
Right. And you know,
that's decent and noble.
But I didn't always think that, because being young and dumb, you block relationships. You know, like, oh man, you catch, like, she was dating this little Asian dude, and dude wasn't scared of me. And I was surprised, right? And he was like, man, this is what I'm dating. Like, he seen me one time and I was by myself too. He had all the, he had the opportunity, but he wasn't scared of me.
So did you, as you're having these children though, did you ever consider the mindset of what type of father you wanted to be compared to the type of father that you had? That's always been one of the things that intrigued me with men.
And let me say this about, and if you know me, and people out there know me, if my kids was in a play being a rock, I was sitting there watching them be a rock, and I brought people with me to root him on being a rock. I didn't miss stuff like that. Okay. Right? I'm not going to say I was always the best parent, but I made sure I put time into the kids.
What do you think you failed as a parent?
Failed?
Yes.
We've
all failed somewhere, or wish we
could have did
things
I failed several different places. It depends which kid, because each kid got a different issue.
Okay,
even
well,
this
talk
day,
about one issue.
Like my oldest son, I think he said that, I didn't give him a fair opportunity to be raised in a 2-parent household. So that's, in his opinion, that's failed.
Okay.
Second kid, I think he just, he was more of a mama's boy. I know he gonna watch this, love you, Twan, but, he's more of a mother's boy. I just think that, he just, well, all my kids are mama's boys. Let me go there first.
Okay.
They love their dad. But I think if the ship was sinking, Mama getting the call. Mama getting the call. It
Okay.
ain't gonna be Pop. Pop, we love you, but we're gonna give you a raw funeral. But you
Okay.
got to go down.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
And then the youngest,
I wasn't there for him
you
because in
just
another
because he
state.
was another
Then
state.
when he came, and I was trying to be there for him because I don't run from my responsibilities. I made sure financially he was
He was
taken
like,
care of. But being there for his AAU basketball and stuff like that, I wasn't there.
he wasn't there.
So but I also didn't know because there wasn't nothing to jump on a plane and go to Milwaukee. But I didn't know,
You didn't know what.
like activities, things like that.
Did his mom completely cut you off,
At one point, she did.
and you just let her cut you off?
Cause listen, man, let me tell you how I found my son. So one day I'm driving down the street in Richmond. I look over at a bus stop. This is I think about 23rd McDonald. I say, damn, this little boy look dead on Twan.
Wow.
I pull in the parking lot. Then I realized her. It was at the bus stop. Then when she found out that she had moved back out there for a minute, then
So the,
he was about 7 or 8. She moved right back out of here again, like she was running from me.
so you drive and look over at a bus stop, see a kid that
It
looks
looked like
just
my
like
other
one of your
son.
kids, and you pull over to think, do I got another kid out here I don't know
And
nothing
and
about?
and he say his name is Little Joseph.
So you talk to him.
Man, little boy ain't had no stranger danger. He walked straight to the car.
You told him to come here?
Man, I said, little boy.
Because you got to paint this picture, right? You
I
got
said,
to paint the picture for the
man,
people.
listen, I pull up. I'm like, I said, little boy, come here. He was like, yeah. I said, what's your name? He said, Little Joseph. I said, well, I think I'm your dad. He's like, you my dad? Man, I'm not
That
being
is
funny.
not funny,
I'm
but
saying
that
this
is
so the
crazy.
whole world can see
That's
I'm being honest.
crazy.
I told you I was going to be transparent as possible. It's a transparent moment.
So he had never, well, as a baby, but he had never met you until that
He
point?
hadn't met me as a baby. He was gone.
And you never flew out once to see him?
Didn't know where they were at that point.
Wow.
Didn't know, I didn't know if she had the baby or not. Didn't know.
How do you explain that to your child? I mean, he's older now, right? What did y'all ever talk about?
Here's the question: do I have to explain, or do his mom have to
Well,
explain?
that's what I'm saying. I would wonder, did he ever ask you, like, when he became a certain age, did he ever just ask you, like,
You know
man,
what? That's still that's my toxic child to this day. I love
okay,
him to death. He's giving me my first grandchild and also going to give me my second grandchild. But
Congratulations.
we don't converse. Like on Father's Day, he sent me one of the worst texts ever on
Did he?
Father's Day. But hey, man, I love him to death, and I want to be better, and I want to invite him to create a better relationship. But it's just not where his head is right now.
I think that's
But
important.
whenever he's ready to have that relationship, I'm here for it.
So that's a whole nother thing to unpack just right there. Being a man, having a child that rejects you, right? You love him. You're a different man now. You want to be a better dad. You want a grandfather now. Now you grandpa, Papa Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how does that feel as just being?
But you gotta look at what's going through his mind, right?
He thinks you abandoned him.
That then he could hear stories of how my sons out here got JJ got a car, or JJ and Twan got a car. However it worked, right? He was there, so he felt abandoned, and he has his legitimate right to feel that way. I'll never take that away from him. I just wish that we could sit down and really have a good, healthy conversation about it.
So
But also, I wish his mom. See, the thing about it that most people don't do, let nobody ever sit everybody down.
Right. Have you ever tried reaching out to her to say, "Hey, can we have a conversation with our son?"
I've tried, just.
Does she feel some kind of way about you?
I don't know.
Because
She'll call. She called. He don't.
She'll call and say,
and check on me, and he won't. Or she'll update me on the grandbaby or something.
Oh, that's nice. So you sounds like y'all got somewhat of a decent enough relationship where you can. I'm just thinking from my point of view as a parent, right? Our children are gonna get older. If they have questions, especially if I'm still cool with the dad and me and you had a kid, and I know every woman is different and we all different, but if I see my son got issues, he just became a father himself. I would want to rectify that. I want him to be the best version of himself that he could be. And if that required us sitting down and having a conversation, of course, me and you would have to talk first because it's probably some finger blaming and pointing, right?
Right.
You're going to say it's my fault because I up and left and took the kid. I'm going to be like, well, nigga, you wasn't even around. And I did what I had to do. You know what I mean? You're going to have that. But if it means that at the end result is going to make it a better situation for our son, why not? Especially if he got issues with you. Because I think every child needs both parents. He's a father now. And the only thing that his fathering is coming from a man who he feels abandoned him.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And I agree with everything you said. It just hasn't happened. Hopefully, one day it'll happen, and one day soon. Because again, we're not always promised a million years on Earth. So I don't want to. I don't want to go on without him understanding how much I really love him.
Okay, I'm sure he has an inkling. So is he back in?
He's in Milwaukee.
Okay. Have you even talked to him about coming to visit?
I have not. He grown.
I know.
He got enough money to fly himself.
No,
What
but
I'm
for
saying.
you to go fly out and see your
Man,
grandbabies.
I've never been to Milwaukee. Out of every state and country I've been to, I ain't never been to Milwaukee.
I know. And I'm just saying how people sometimes look at that. If you can go to here and you can go there, well, then you can come see me.
That's true.
That's sometimes how we feel.
Listen, it has to be a situation where I'm invited because I can't pop up. I wouldn't know where to go, what to do. Right? And I don't have a problem with
it
going. It
sounds like you're making excuses because you know where to go.
No,
where's his mama?
Well,
she in Milwaukee, right?
They don't live together.
I'm not saying that, but I'm saying she know how to get in touch with your son.
That don't mean
can
he's
help you
coming.
Out. It don't. But you never know.
It has to be a situation that's. I don't care if he needs to come put some boxing gloves on. It's the point of we need to be able to know that we're going to be in the same space because I can go to Milwaukee anytime. I can get up right now and go to Milwaukee, right? But that don't mean I'm going to see my child and grandbaby. So it has to be a situation that's put together.
So how are you going to put it together?
I've tried. It's going to take more than just me. Maybe when we post this, his mom see this or his cousins, because he still got cousins in Richmond. Maybe they'll post it and be like, where you go see your daddy? I don't know.
Well, at least the thought is out there. And for the longest...
Because I'm big on family, man. I wasn't always... It's things that I've been big on family. I wasn't the best father. I wasn't the best son. I wasn't the best husband, fiance, boyfriend. I haven't been, though. But I try to correct myself now.
In what ways? Because you're none of those things now. So are you just trying to be a better friend?
No, I want to be a better everything. Every day I get up, because I say I'm 65% healthy. Every day I get up, I seek that 35%.
How does it feel, you big on family, how does it feel navigating life without either of your parents?
It's rough. I lost my mom first. I lost her, I think I was 31. Yeah, because it was before I went to jail, 31, 30. And that was the first time I'd ever, I had to go through, I still hate holidays. I don't do holidays. Mm-hmm. Like a lot of people, a couple people invited me over for Thanksgiving, and I went to Nations first. Mm-hmm. I don't do holidays. Christmas is not big with me,
Okay. So the holidays times is just, well, there's holidays throughout the year, but these are probably the major
November
ones.
is always a bad month because that's my mom, my dad, and my nephew that got life in prison birthdays.
Okay. So November is always difficult. December, the end of the year.
Right. So Christmas, end of the year is, something
a
down.
different time for you. So how do you? Because I was recently talking to a friend of mine who had just lost his father too, and he was just kind of going on like, man, he had lost his mother previously, now he lost his father, and he wasn't going on a tangent, but he was just talking just about how he felt and how he just, it's just him now, you know what I mean? Like, it just put him in a very, very different space. I don't know if that's like I'm still...
And the good thing is me and my father had we had some crying moments.
Did he ever apologize to you?
His way. I'm gonna say he apologized his way. And the interesting thing, man, I sat in the hospital with him his last 3 months of his life. He was in the hospital 3 months. I didn't go to work, and then I was in the hospital trying to shaving him, and he had visitors, but my sisters came, not that much, especially my sister was on drugs. She hardly came. My other sister might have came a couple of times. She has her own reasons for coming. I'm not talking about it, but she just didn't. And I was like, well, shit. Um, I was sitting talking to him, man, and he was just having a conversation with me. Then he just, for a second, he snapped. He was like, yeah, man, I love both you, my daughters, and like I didn't get it at first. I'm like, nigga, if you acting like you didn't love, boy, unplug your ass. No, but I'm playing, no. But it was a weird conversation. But he was just telling me, man, that he glad of the man I was becoming. A lot of my nephews and nieces look up to me as the older person in the family. That's through most of my extended family. He said he's glad, that they do that. That was his way.
Okay.
That was his way, and I accepted.
You accepted it.
Only thing I can do is just try to be a better father to mine, and be a better grandfather. All that. That's all I can do.
Okay.
Cause you can't walk through life just holding on and shit. That shit get the wind heavy on you, man.
There's a lot of
Because
people
you
who
got to
do.
look at everything that I've told you.
Mm-hmm.
If I held on to everything that I've just expressed to you, not saying that I ain't got a whole nother 5 bags that I'm traveling with, how heavy is that shit on me?
I'm sure it's extremely heavy.
And I just can't, you got to release and let go sometimes.
So what has helped you through all the things that you've been through, your trials and tribulations, the issues with, some of the issues are still ongoing, but for just you personally, what have you think has been one of the main sources of strength? Because men, you guys carry so much on your show. Real men, okay? I want to be very clear, real men. You guys carry the weight of the world sometimes on your shoulder. And, where do you turn to? We talked about the state of relationships between men and women. We talked about how, men going through their things, but then women going through their own issues too. And then you don't have parents, and then you don't have these good relationships with your children maybe. So where do you go to find the strength that you need to keep Patrick to keep Patrick going and moving?
It's a lot of different areas. One, I have some mentors that I had to talk to. Because another thing is, I don't think I've ever had a person, friend or not, except for my brother Dre, that I could have a conversation with and not hear it again in the streets.
Okay.
So you got to watch that. So, I found some mentors, some cats that's older than me that, I could talk to and not have to worry about stuff. And they really, even if I'm wrong, they get on my ass. They don't just sugarcoat it, they're not trying to be a minion. They give me the raw and uncut.
Safe space. And even at an age of, you're over 50, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Because this is one of the things that I always try to promote is that we're never too old, right?
Right.
To be ourselves. So I want to say, even you at we'll just say over 50, that you still seek guidance from.
I still do.
I'm
not too old to be corrected.
Absolutely.
See, that's why I won't fuck with a person if they said, how I am.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm cool on you. That means you don't have room for correction. So you always gonna be this way. You want to see the world one way.
Okay.
See, but for me, I journal a lot. Like on my Facebook, people think I'm doing that shit for likes. I don't do that. I want to see where I was the year before, what I was thinking about. Cause you see, I repost certain shit because that's still either I'm still there or I feel this is an area I still need to work on. So I do use that shit as my journal. I don't use it as something for likes and shit like that.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a couple more questions, and then we'll just go into some. What would normally be a Candy and Cat chat, but it's just gonna be a Candy and Pat chat. Oh, I'm riding this Patrick. This is my first time in my whole some years that I know this man's name is Patrick, so I'm riding that to the wheels for the rest of this interview. But couple more just random questions. What was the most probably women you juggled at one time?
Wow.
Yeah,
that's how
I'm throwing it. Yeah.
We're
gonna tap it because we're getting ready to wrap it up. So I
that's
gotta,
how you get in.
I gotta dig
I
into.
don't know.
That many?
I honestly I can't say because it all depends.
At one time, no, you can't just pick a time and say, man, I had about 3 of them in rotation.
That I'm dating the rotation.
Yeah, like how many?
When I was unhealthy, I don't know what the rotation. To be honest, I don't know what the rotation was because it's like
because you said you was addicted to women, money, and
but
cars.
The thing is, when you is in your element and you having money, you might add a new person daily. That don't mean
so
you're gonna
was it
deal
daily?
With it. I don't know.
I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know what it is.
I'm not saying. I'm not saying like how. If you don't even have to answer this question, but if you had to say how many times did you get off in one day with different women?
I really don't like you no more.
You don't have to
So
answer
what
it.
you trying to ask me?
But well, because I know about the cars, we already know you hustled for the money. So now
Mhm.
it's just about the women, and I'm just asking this because
I
it's
was
where I'm going
I'm gonna
is
say this. I was a serial dater.
serial dater.
Serial dater. What you
Okay.
trying to say? Was I a serial
Um,
sexer? What you trying to ask?
no. So
Man, listen.
what does because what I was
It
gonna
was people.
allude
It
to.
has been people. I was in a relationship with one person. Somebody else thought they was in a relationship.
Okay.
It has been that.
Okay.
Now, I don't know if it's one. I don't know if it's two. I don't know if it's. I don't remember.
You don't remember.
But it has been that way.
So what does a healthy relationship look like? That's where I was going to allude to. That's why I
I
brought up
think
the
a
women
healthy
because I want to
relationship.
know: do you look forward to because you've been married twice? Are you looking interested in getting married again?
I
What does
do.
that look like for you? That's where I was kind of. I wanted to do the contrast. So man, I went from a nigga to 2, 3,
Right,
4 in a night
right.
to.
Nah, you used to 3 or 4 a night. That's how you used
I'll
to get
just
down.
throw that in
That's how
there.
you used to get
I
down.
said you was the dude. I
Oh,
was
okay. Yeah, I thought
setting
you
an
said I
example.
went from a nigga. When you say I, you was talking about yourself. Okay, well,
No.
all right. So, I do plan on getting married again.
Okay. That's in the
I
books
look
for
for
you.
certain things. Well, one thing is I ask tougher questions,
Okay.
and cause
Did you even ask questions before?
no,
Probably not.
no,
Not tripping.
you know shit. I don't even have to get at people. I was somewhat of a street celebrity, so
So they
depending what
approached
area
you.
I was in. I think I had my hardest dating in Richmond. That's the Richmond people don't fuck with me. Richmond people don't fuck with me, boy.
Is it because they know your history? They know you know
I
everybody?
don't even think
Maybe
that,
they
man.
know you
I
gonna know
don't.
they skeletons,
I know
right?
they skeletons. They probably know
They
mine,
know
but I
all the
just don't
niggas
fit it. I
you know
don't
all the
fit in
niggas
the
they mess
norm. I
with.
wasn't the loud dude. I'm not the smoker. Depending who you ask, if I had money or not, because some people think I was busted,
Mm,
right? So I didn't fit into the norm of the social Richmond shit.
okay.
Um, I ain't the shooter out loud. Everybody ain't gonna just say, "Oh, Joe killed blah 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 blah." All that shit get you street cred somehow, somewhere. Don't ask me why. They gonna get now dresser and cars. They're gonna be like, he dressed good. He has some clean cars. It's like now, I don't even drive cars like that because I live 5 minutes away from my job. And I drive the cars I'm selling, so don't nobody even know what kind of car I own.
Hmm.
So, but what was your initial question,
Just
man?
what did the
Um,
future of a relationship look like for you? You said you were
a healthy
interested in getting married.
relationship,
You
a
asked
healthy.
harder questions. You said.
I asked for a harder question
What's
for
a
me.
harder question for me? Give
So,
me an example.
for example, sometimes you got to ask these questions, and it may sound offensive. You may want to ask somebody, well, if we're dating, right, and we get real serious, did something happen to you in your childhood that may affect our relationship?
I think that's a fair question.
A lot of people run from it. You got to understand, we black. Molestation or something like that is something that we just don't put out there. It's out there now, but back then we didn't, so everybody hid it.
And I think it's hard to make a judgment call on the type of person that you're dating because I think everybody we would love to be in a relationship with somebody that we consider a safe space.
Right.
But like you said, you find it hard where you can't say something to somebody and ain't out in the streets. I think women have that same type of thing too. And
See,
I think the double standard. 'Cause let me just speak real quick. I think part of the double standard
stuff.
is that we all eternalize things different. You
Right.
know what I mean?
Well,
And
I give
how
you
you
that.
view me, like if you're somebody that I like, I would be concerned with me sharing you how you're gonna view me and how you're gonna take that because not every man want to deal with it. There's men who will be like, "Oh man, she damaged," and it could be a turnoff. Like here, I'm trying to be
But shit,
vulnerable and
that's
give
the
you my truth.
problem. We all damaged. The issue is you accept the part that you're damaged in and you want to correct them. A lot
Only
of people
some men
don't.
do that.
A lot of women don't do it either though. That's a whole nother. Somebody write that down for the next
We already
topic.
know how
That's
toxic these
we have to get on
relationships
y'all
are.
about that.
You ain't got to get on
y'all
now.
know.
This is where the conversation goes left because me and him have had several instances where we just don't agree when it comes to the dynamics and the relationships of the man and woman and the roles that we play.
One day
in
we
the
should have a live show.
relationships.
We should have a
We should
live
have
show where
one.
they could text in as we going and see what we get.
Oh yeah, we could definitely do that because I'm Team Candy all day long.
Okay,
Let me ask you a couple
you bring
questions.
Cat, and I'm gonna bring one of my partners.
Bring them.
All right, and we gonna sit here and we gonna hash this out.
We're gonna have food
though.
too,
We gonna go
We're
live.
gonna have food, we're gonna have drinks,
All right,
and
we
we're
gonna
gonna
go
do an
live.
episode. We'll go live. And I'm telling you, I already know because it's a lot of men, y'all crazy. It was a time where y'all used to say women was crazy and we was all messed up. the roles have reversed, and they have reversed 100%. Cause now we the ones making the money.
No.
Now we the ones doing it, and
No.
y'all the niggas that's crazy with
First
all
and
these
foremost,
issues.
first and foremost,
I don't even know how he
y'all
see how
not
he
the
triggered
ones
me.
that's making the money, so we gonna go past that.
Oh, we do make money.
Yeah, y'all make it, but y'all act like we
what
don't.
type of chicks you dating?
Y'all act like we don't.
I never said y'all don't, but I'm just saying now we.
Girl,
making
ask the
money.
questions. We get another. Write this down for the next topic.
I don't need to write it down. Me and you always get into it with that. Look
This
how I
gonna
was
be a
trying to be
good one.
nice and just end it on a nice, smooth.
We still
Joe
ending
note.
it on a nice, smooth note
So
because
you-
everybody know that you crazy.
Whatever.
Right.
Anyway,
But everybody know that we also.
now you just
we
messed
also,
up. Your wife, your future wife, could be watching. Now she got to see.
man, but
she got
everybody
to see your
know.
attitude.
No. Because hey, I'm gonna be my authentic me. That's one thing
Most
I used to didn't
authentic
do
self.
in relationships. I
Well,
wasn't being
that's a good
authentic.
thing.
You know, because
Yeah.
a lot of us don't be authentic in our
You
relationships.
got to be your most authentic self.
Because
That is correct.
one thing about men and women these days is when we go outside, we put a mask on.
Mhm.
We got to worry about who our boss wants us to be, who our society wants us to be, who our friends want us to be. I've learned that mask stay at the house. I got to be who I am.
Always, as much as you can be. So let's see. What's something you wish you believed in but can't?
That your way of thinking about relationships is cool.
Ooh, we gonna make this real quick. Recall a moment when you didn't speak up, but you know you should have. That's a good one.
In a lot of relationships.
In a lot of relationships,
Yeah.
so what kind
Because
of
see, women have no problem expressing what they need in a relationship, and most men are silent at that. So until then, when it builds up, and we either step out or just leave. You know,
So has your communication gotten better in relationships?
it has.
A lot better. So
It
now
has.
if there's an issue, so if a woman spoke up to you and told you that she needs better sex in bed, is that gonna offend you, or are you gonna be like, what do I need to do?
Every woman is different.
Okay, but
So it depends what you talk about better sex in bed, because you gotta look. I
maybe she
can't
wanna
make love.
switch it up,
Hold on, I can't make love to my last person like I make it to my new person.
right?
You may be somebody that want it all soft and intimate, and she might want her hair pulled and rough rolled, and
We like both, for the record, but I'm asking you.
that's
just,
you.
Listen, I'm
That's
asking
you.
you for the record because
But
sometimes
if that's
having
what
that
you need-
conversation,
But it
period, about
depends.
sex with
See,
a man
here's
is
the thing.
difficult
No,
for y'all.
What's she gonna say? You need me to do this? That, of course I'm gonna take that heat, because it's just certain shit that you may be doing to me that I'm like, you know what, baby, you gotta be more aggressive when you go down on it. You know, I need you to really be into that, like, you know, like, Jock, you love it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, you know, so it's okay as long as she can take the same criticism. It's okay.
So safe space with you, pretty much.
Yeah.
Y'all can talk about anything.
Anything.
And no offense taken.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Nope.
Let me ask you. I'm gonna ask you two more questions.
Go ahead.
What dreams have you given up that you wish you hadn't?
Playing baseball.
You was a good baseball player. Were
I
you?
play- I was
Out
decent.
of all you talked about, you never mentioned sports.
I was, because see, that's we never got to go there, but that was another avenue that I wanted to pursue and didn't.
Really? Were you good in sports?
I was decent in baseball, but I was learning more every day. But I ended up that's why I thought I had multiple sclerosis, because it's funny, I gotta have spinal surgery now about some shit when I was little. That I just found out why, because misdiagnosis from different doctors.
Oh wow. So what was the diagnosis?
So it's something going on with my spine, and it's been going on with my spine for years. Not multiple sclerosis. I thought that that's what I had, because I was running the bases when I was little and failed. So that's another reason I kind of went to the streets, because the doctor that I had at the time, he said that, you know, you're going to end up in a wheelchair by 21. So I was like, shit, well, I'm finna run while I can.
Okay.
And I started running the streets.
Oh, okay. Wow. Well, yeah, 21. That's interesting the way that you put that. That was almost poetic in a sense. How would you describe the love you grew up with?
From where?
The question is just, how would you describe the love you
The
grew up
love
with?
for
Did you
my-
feel
the
love?
I felt love for my mom. I felt a sense of love for my community. It was just a love that was I don't think, when I say not authentic, I don't think it was passed down correctly.
What about did you ever know your grandparents at all?
I knew my grandfather. I did know my grandfather.
On which side?
And my grandfather on my
On
mother's
mother's
side.
side.
He was older then, so you know I would stop by and see him.
Okay, so you knew your grandfather, so you never knew your grandmother from neither side, and
No.
you didn't know your father's parents at all.
No.
Never met them. Did you ever meet any of your father's siblings?
I did. Funny man, it's a whole nother funny story. I'm gonna say it real quick. So I go to bury my last auntie. I had I think one uncle left. I'll go to bury my last auntie, and I'm at the plane in San Francisco. I don't know these people, nothing. I'm like, Daddy, is it anything I'm gonna get down here with that's gonna hit me blind? Tell me now, right? He was like, no. I said, I ain't got no more brothers and sisters running around out here in Louisiana, right? He said, no. Your other brother in Appaloosa. I said, what other brother? Oh man, I'm damn near 40 something. He telling me about a brother that I didn't know I had.
Wow.
So, and I got down there and it was cool.
But you met some of his people.
I still conversate with him now.
What about on your mom's side?
Not really.
Not really.
I still got my cause my mom had a sister, and I still know my cousins. Cause they out there in Sacramento. So.
Okay. All right, Patrick. We're gonna end it on that note. So what do you prefer people to call you? Joe, Patrick, Joseph? Do you not care?
You can call me what you want to call me.
Well, I'm gonna call you that, but
I don't know, man, because a lot of people call me Pat. Like if they know me, especially like my favorite family in North Richmond, the Davises, they all still call me Patrick.
If somebody would have said, "Where's Patrick?" I'd be like, "Who was you talking about?"
Yeah, a lot of people with that.
Mm.
That's like my name seems to be one word. If you say Joe, they don't know what the hell you talking about. If you say Joe McCoy, everybody make it seem like it's one word.
Yeah, it sounds like one word. Okay, so I know that was gonna be the last one, but I'm gonna make this the last question.
Oh shit.
When was the last time you were truly afraid?
When I filed my taxes. IRS scared me. Anything with letters scared me. IRS.
I thought I was gonna get another
AIDS,
answer.
anything with letters, feds, all the people scared me.
Ooh wee. All right. Thank you, Mr. Joe, Patrick, McCoy, Joseph, whatever you
Now,
want.
other than Wayne, you're probably gonna get the highest ratings on this show. So make sure you bring me back, cause I know my boy Wayne did a killer show for you guys.
We have so much more coming up in store.
Yeah.
Y'all need to understand that this year for She Said What He Said was just the beginning. We haven't even wrapped up our full year from start to finish, but we are just ending the year 2023. We do have so much more coming for you in 2024. We should have one more episode before the year ends. So thank you, Joe, for coming
Not a problem.
by and giving me your time and your energy and your truth. We appreciate it. Always a big shout out to Big Roo. He's always holding the camera and sending us notes that we can't see because the light is so bright. But thank y'all. Kat, we miss you. You know what I mean? I hope you are enjoying yourself and having fun. And just for today, I hope your Niners win. She Said We Said podcast.
Yeah.